Okay. All right. Well, morning. Welcome. I was going to say it's good to be back, but yeah, it is good to be back, but I would have preferred to stay away. So talking about taking people along, well, glad I didn't take any of you along with me on my trip, but I don't think that's exactly the topic. So Trevor, Nell, I think I better hand over to you because I'm floundering, having been away for 10 days, can't get back up to speed this quickly. You know, the old wheels turn a bit slow.
Yeah, well, I'm floundering, haven't been here for 10 days, so perhaps not the right guys. So Trevor Cotty seems to have his finger on the pulse of the topic. So I'm going to hand over to Trevor while I think about what the topic is. I've been flat out here today, yesterday. Go, Trevor Cotty.
So I've learned one thing from this wisdoms thing, and it's from Edward. And he learned it when he was 16. It said, read the question. And the question for today is, what does it take? And that was prefaced by to get people to go along with you with your vision for the future. So let's just get back to the question. What does it take? I think a whip, masking tape, prozac, inordinate amounts of whiskey, sleepless nights. But it really has got to start with clarity of vision. If you don't have a clarity of vision and a team around you that supports whatever it is you're doing, well, you're stuffed. You can't take whatever you think you can take. You might as well just take the Prozac and the whiskey and call it a day. So what does it take? It takes tenacity. It takes discipline. It takes physical, emotional, and spiritual depth of character. It takes grayness and baldness and wrinkles and it just takes everything out of you. Because you know what, if you want to go fast, the reason they say go on your own is because you can go faster. You don't have to worry about that other oak who's left behind you at the -40 while you in the Kalahari at +40. And so what does it take? It takes everything. And it doesn't matter if it's a team of one and you that one, you still got to get up, you still got to be disciplined, you still got to. So what does it take? It takes tenacity, it takes discipline, it takes routine, it takes consistency. Prudential is right. It takes consistency. So I'm not sure if I read the question right, Ed, but it said, what does it take? And that's about my 2 cents worth. Otherwise, I'll put you to sleep there, Ivan. I know you just got that.
Well, okay, yeah. So the first question that comes to mind, Trevor, when you say that is, so why would you do it?
Yeah, I think it comes down to your 1 month, 12 month, 3 year, 7 year, 21-year vision, and what you want to leave behind. What was your unique set of gifts and talents that you could have screwed up if you didn't try it? So it's that's the reason why. Give you something to get up to every day.
Good. Thanks. So then we better get across to the legacy man. So Mr. Jasper Kluter, good morning to you, sir.
Morning all, and welcome back, Ivan.
Yeah.
You look like well rested, and you don't need too much Prozac, but I'm sure you are still using a bit of that whiskey there that Trevor talks about. Yeah. In terms of, I came in just while he was belaboring the whiskey point a bit, so I didn't get too much of the question, but carrying on from yesterday and following on your question, so why do you do that? As he was talking about it, I fully agree with him. It literally, once you're committed to your journey, which is probably motivated by your sense of a cause and whatever goes with it, I think a part of man's being is that you after a while move into autopilot, and you keep doing what you've done yesterday, and you are, and if you have some fair results over and above the other challenges that you face, then you tend to come back and do it again, because we are pretty much creatures of habit, and we keep circling back to what we like doing and what gives us a bit of a joy. And I mean, it's like golf. Why do you want to play golf? 18 holes, and on that 18 holes, well, what got me back over and over? Well, first of all, I appreciate the patience of good golfers like Trevor, who could walk with me. And but if you have one, I said the wrong Trevor there. If you had one good what do you call it, shot out of the 18 holes, or maybe a putt that you're not a good putter, but somehow you got it in. It's those kind of memories of that one good thing that keeps making you come back to the game, and it's the camaraderie and whatever. So I think it's pretty much if it's a lonely walk to do your thing, and I think it's much more fun if you can find yourself your 4-ball in life, the 2 or 3 or 4 that wants to do things together. And some days when when you're down, someone else reminds you why you're doing what you're doing, and vice versa. But the reality is every journey in life starts as a lonely journey. It starts with that first guy who says, you know what, I'm not going to keep going left. I'm going right here. And after it takes a while, and he's ridiculed, and people don't understand him, until the first person says, you know what, I actually understand why you want to go right here. And I think it's a good idea. Let's walk together. And once you can get to that stage, the journey is no longer that bitter and that bad. Then you do it together with a group. It's not to say you have your ups and your downs, but then it makes it easier, because I remember when I prepared for comrades, not being an athlete way back, the toughest part was the part where I had to practice on my own and do my own 10-kilometer run for preparation. But the moment I got a running mate committed, and we meet each other early in the morning at a certain place, it made just the discipline of getting up and doing it much better. So I know I'm rambling a bit here, but I'm thinking, if you have to ask me now, and you call me the legacy man, and yes, that's certainly what I stand for. But I was just searching my mind here. Am I really that focused and motivated on a second-by-second basis to say, I want to leave a legacy? Honestly, no. I just find myself doing stuff that I like doing. And it so happened that it appeals to myself and a whole lot of people. And I like doing what I'm doing. And I will continue doing it. But I don't necessarily worry about, what people think of me when I'm not there anymore. So I don't know if that answered anything, or it was just a whiskey rambling.
Well, I don't know if you have a tot or two before breakfast. It could well be. I'm not sure. So we'll have to see. So Cecile, what are your thoughts about how you take people along on your journey with you, or do you?
No, I don't. That's my problem. I'm listening when Trevor Carty started, and all the things that he said, that one needs to do a good team. I think I don't have any. I don't drink. I don't have prozac. I don't have sleepless nights. The one thing that I do have is tenacity, and maybe that's why I'm a one-man band. Because I have discipline to actually do it all by myself. So maybe in my next, what do you call it? What is it, Trevor? Other Trevor call it? From 60 upwards. Maybe now I'm going to slow down. And because what I found when I was a salesman, when I first started in the telecoms industry, before that I used to be a radiographer and used to work in teams. So I loved working in teams and stuff like that. And then when I became the sales manager, what I did is, apart from being like a super salesperson, instead of taking the whip out and putting the Vaseline and do all that kind of stuff and the bottles, I would lead from the front and just do, and then demotivate everyone because I'm doing sales and they're not. So I found out I was a really bad manager. so yeah, so but maybe I'm in my next 40 years, I can learn to slow down and take people with me and allow them to do things at their pace. So yeah, I'm listening with gespitste ore na julle almal and how to take a team to a next level.
Thanks, Cecilia. I somehow doubt that you're going to slow down in your next 40 years. I just don't see that for you at all. You're just going to keep on getting out there and doing it the way you've always done it, I'm sure, and kick butt along the way. So, Edward, let's get across to you next.
Yeah, what Trevor was talking about, the bit of advice was actually read the question and answer it. And if you think about it, that's very, very profound, because most of us see what we want to see or read what we want to see, and then we say what we know, not answering the question. But I think actually Trevor nailed it. You know, it is about clarity of vision. If you want to take people with you to achieve your goals, and sometimes we need people to achieve our goals, we need a real strong clarity of vision. And I think it also depends on what that vision is. I think if it's something that's quite nebulous, like perhaps the other day I mentioned Martin Luther King and I Have a Dream, there he was fighting against something that was wrong and moving towards something that was right. And he didn't really need to explain the detail. He just needed to have the passion and the belief that it could happen. Whereas if you look at, say, at the same time, Kennedy talked about putting a man on the moon. And I think there, to bring people with him, he needed to explain the route, explain the resources there, how it was going to happen. So I think it depends on the particular dream. Some you just need passion and clarity of vision, and people will join you because of that passion. Think of how many people have now started drinking Castle Lager since I did my talk. And for other things, you need to show the route map to show that it's actually going to work, particularly in maybe a business environment. You need to show that it's possible and perhaps show some steps, because some people just need to know those incremental steps. It's fine saying build a new Jerusalem, but some people you have to say, well, you know, we're going to clear the ground first, put the foundations in, etc. So I think it is about clarity of vision, passion, and if necessary, explaining the steps.
Great, thanks, Ed. Yeah, I think that certainly clarified certain things for me anyway. So Donovan, your thoughts? Donovan, are you with us?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I was just muted. Morning, Alvin. Morning, everyone. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm getting that topic right. I remember reading about how to involve others in your vision. So the thing is not to force people. You first need to identify, potential candidates, and then motivate them. But you don't have to necessarily motivate them for your specific vision. Just motivate them to align with you and to support you in whatever you want to do. And eventually, hopefully, share the same vision with you and see what you see. And that's
okay. Thanks, Donovan. We sort of lost you towards the end there, but perhaps if you can maybe just type some of it into the chat box, because I say it sounded like you're heading down an interesting track, but unfortunately the last couple of sentences just disappeared completely. All right, so Trevor Nell, that is, you've
All right, it must have been subliminal, this question of what does it take, because I woke up this morning about 2:30 in the morning, and this blooming mantra was in my head, and I didn't have a title for it, so I quickly wrote it down on a piece of paper, and it was this: rise, rise, rise above the noise, soar, soar, soar like an eagle, high, high, high beyond the crowds. Glide, glide, glide upon the winds. Look, look, look from afar. Think, think, think for yourself. Focus, focus, focus on the dot. Strike, strike, strike when it's right. Now, I don't know what that means to you, but it means a ton to me in terms of vision and how we've stuck to our vision and how this has now all come together at this particular time. And it took me a little while to actually come up with the title. And the title was related, I believe, in my mind, to what's happening in the world today. And I was talking to some really smart people who from the outside look as though they've got it all together, but they haven't got a clue what's on the go. And I can interpret that they're affected by the crisis, they're affected by the chaos, and they haven't got a clue now how to connect the dots. And I believe that we can connect the dots. And when I wrote that line there, focus, focus, focus on the dot, I was thinking of that eagle so high up there, and how far that eagle can actually see in amongst all of the noise, the landscape, whatever, and can focus and strike when the time is right. So I think that has some sort of connection subliminally to the topic, which Trevor Carty, thank goodness you did your homework. What does it take? It's just about sharing what could be something of a vision, not worrying about how many people come on board, but making certain that you keep moving towards your vision and see how many other people it attracts like a magnet. And then if you really want to make it work, then you got to get specific. Watch us, because that's what we're doing right now. We are now starting to ramp up the power into this magnet to make it an electromagnet. And that's what we're driving at the moment. That's why you can hear that Lee is so excited. I hope I've got to just check where Ivan is. He might have left his brain behind in the bush. But I think we're extremely excited about what we've learned out of this lockdown period and how focused we really are. So Edward asked, Trevor, where does that come from? I had a pen and a piece of paper at 3 o'clock this morning, wrote the bulk of it down, was amazed at what it was. So I wonder, I suppose now Ivan is going to tell me that I've copied that from someone else in. Right, what do you got, Ivan?
I don't know where you copied that from, and I certainly don't like waking up at 2:30 in the morning. So Ed, good luck with that one. I mean, it's I like my sleep more than that. Yeah, so I think maybe we should bring us back, and I think Trevor Carty got us pretty close. So the question was, tomorrow we explore the challenge of how to bring others along with us, including them and helping them to be part of our great vision. What does it take? Was the exact question that was posed for today. So I think we've touched on lots of those elements, but at the end of the day, I think from my perspective, it comes down to that's if you can speak after coming back from the bush for 10 days. Getting my tongue tied around that whiskey and the prozac, Trevor. There, I think it's start a day with that, and you're never going to get anywhere. So. Yeah, I think it comes down to, quite simply, is leadership. If you want to take people along with you, you've got to lead them. And whether you're leading them with a great vision and passion, as Ed said, or whether you're leading them with detailed plans, it depends on the group you're trying to lead and why you're trying to lead them. So for me, it simply comes down to a good leader needs to interpret what his audience needs to be included and to be led on the journey, and then provide the right environment and the right framework to actually take them on that trip. yeah, that's really where I think it comes down to at the end of the day. And if you look at the people that Ed spoke about, Kennedy and Martin Luther King Jr., you know, they were great leaders, and they knew how to work with their particular constituencies and audiences, I think, to really fire them up and take them on the journey. So yeah, I think that's, from my perspective, what it really takes to get people involved and get them on the journey with you is get the right leadership. And sometimes it's not always the person with the idea that needs to be the leader. Sometimes it's somebody that needs to buy into that, who has the right energy and the right interpretation of what the constituency actually needs to be brought along on the journey. So it's getting the right people on the bus, as we always said, and getting the right people in the right seats on the bus. And then making sure that the driver knows how to put it into gear and get it moving forward. So yeah, I think that's, for me, those are the elements of how you get people going along with you. So Trevor and Nell, I'm going to toss the ball back into your court for tomorrow and see where we're going to go with this one.
Well, I actually just want to, because I think we've got a little bit of time here, I want to toss, I know that Ed is the wordsmith here of the group. What did you think of that little, what do you call it, a quatrain? Is it, Ed? Give me your honest interpretation.
My honest interpretation was, I thought you copied it from somewhere. I think it's absolutely brilliant. And
all right, the meeting now ends on that high note. No, keep going, Ed. Keep going.
And I think that sort of metaphor of the eagle up there with the focus, and yeah, I mean, you can actually see it in your mind, can't you? You can see that bird focusing on that mouse or that little tiny rodent or something, and then ignoring all else and zooming in. Yeah, I just thought, brilliant. I'm at loss for words, actually.
Well, I think my words are now completely blown out. Yeah, no, I was blown away by it too. Right? So maybe this is something that we can focus on. And you know what? There's just something simplistic. And for me, this brought everything together that we've done since the beginning of COVID. And that is, I'm going to use that as my little mantra going into 2021, that the time is now right to strike while everyone else is wondering what the hell to do. I think we know exactly what to do, and that's what we're doing. So it excites me, and I'm going to play around with it. And of course you can plagiarize it, Trevor Carty. Just put there, written by Trevor, and then I'll be happy with it.
Perhaps what we could do, Trevor, is to look at one line each day and examine what rise above the noise means. And then
deep, Ed. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow. Ivan, I think that's fantastic. Let's go into it and see if it stimulates it. And maybe some of you have got to get up at 2:30 and write your own little quatrains to add to this thing.
And Ivan, maybe you should take it, and that guy above your balding head in the background, why don't you take him out of the picture and put the new mantra for wisdoms up there? Chaos, crisis, blah, blah, mantra. Good stuff, Trevor.
Okay, and by the way, Jasper, I thought you were talking about me as the golfer and not that other guy in there. And then I realized you said a couple of golf games, and he's only, and you've only taken me for one or two, I think.
I don't know what the story is with this golf thing. You know, I mean, you know, really, is it a sport? I mean, you know, for me, a sport, you got to have a moving target. You know, these things where you're hitting a target that's sitting still is not a sport. You know, that's just taking pot shots. You know, I mean, really, come on, guys. You know, get a real sport.
But that's the giggle. Try and hit that target that's standing still. Yeah.
All I know, it's a 4-letter word. That's all I know about golf.
Absolutely, yeah. There you go, good, Ed. Yeah. You know, Cecile and I, you know, we hit a ball that's a little bit smaller than that and moving a hell of a lot faster than that. And so yeah, it's you know, that's
so as Ed reminds us, it's probably time to golf off.
Okay, and on that note, perhaps we should end off the morning. All right, folks. So yeah, so tomorrow we'll pick up on Trevor's little what did you call it? Quatrain. The first line of the quatrain. So we'll learn some new words and see if we can interpret Trevor's deep and dark thoughts at 2:30 in the morning. So have a great one, folks, and we'll see you tomorrow. Go well.